Part 9. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buledin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 81. Such a big wild boar is also a problem to transport. But it is not difficult for Chen Ling. She asks Sui Chao and Meng Meng to go back to the camp, bring Bai Muchuan's sleeping bag, and a few strong men. They worked together to lift the wild boar onto the unfolded sleeping bag, and pulled the corners of the sleeping bag and went to the river a little distance away. Chen Ling handled the wild boar skillfully and neatly. The wild boar skin was washed and packed in a bag, the pig intestines were washed and packed in a bag, and even the meat was cut very neatly. In just 20 to 30 minutes, a wild boar was dismembered into neat pieces of meat, as well as rib meat with bones, spine meat, and especially on both sides of the back neck. There were 2 pieces of particularly good pig neck meat, which Chen Ling kept separately. These 2 pieces of back neck meat are commonly known as 4 ounces of gold, which means that the meat here is particularly valuable, and each pig only has 4 ounces of back neck meat. Several strong men carried sleeping bags. Chen Ling took the lead with a stick to explore the way, and the group returned to the camp in a mighty manner. The people in the camp were not idle either. The men collected firewood and cleaned the ground, and the women fetched water, boiled water, and picked mushrooms. They all performed their duties. They set up tents and hung camping lights. Don't say it, it really feels like camping. As soon as Chen Ling and his men showed up, the people in the camp cheered, and the whole camp was boiling. Just now, when Sui Chao and Meng Meng came back to get sleeping bags and lead the strong men, they simply said a few words that Chen Ling had killed a wild boar and they would eat pork at night, and everyone had been looking forward to it. Chen Ling checked the mushrooms picked by Bai Muchuan and thought about it in his heart. There were sausages, ham, instant noodles, and game in the skull bag. Wild boar fat was used to stir-fry oil. Golden pork neck meat could be used to stir-fry chicken leg mushrooms. Pork buttocks stewed with mushrooms. Roasted wild vegetable foam and sweet fruity pork ribs. Plucking quail hair and wrapping it in mud and stuffing it into the fire, this is Chen Ling's version of beggar quail. Instant noodles can be made into a pot of pork noodles with pig lungs, pig intestines, pig hearts, etc., and then a few quail eggs can be added, and some natural vanilla seasonings can be sprinkled, which must be delicious. Fried brushworms with crispy flavor. Pig skulls contain pig brains, which can be used to make original ecological roasted pig brain flours. The remaining meat can be marinated and slowly baked over fire to form meat with jerky texture, which can be cut and carried as dry food. The 4 pork leg bones with meat can be used to make roasted leg bones, which are super fragrant to chew, and the bone marrow can be eaten out. She definitely couldn't do it alone, so she called everyone over and divided the work. Some were responsible for watching the fire and frying the pork belly to release the oil. Some were responsible for putting the cut meat into bags, covering it with thick cloth, and repeatedly hitting it with stones until it became meat paste and penetrated into the pig's small intestine. Some were responsible for picking wild vegetables, tearing them into pieces, and picking black spots off mushrooms. Some were processing quails and applying clean mud. Some were grabbing pig leg bones and pig neck bones and roasting them on the fire. Everyone was busy, even Zhang Qiun volunteered to be responsible for setting up the stove. Chen Ling did not refuse. Just told him to be careful, and now the anti-inflammatory medicine was working, his fever had subsided a lot. Everyone was doing their job in an orderly manner. Chen Ling first made the golden 4 tails of pork neck meat to stir-fry chicken leg mushrooms. This dish, she personally likes to eat very much. The pork neck meat should be cut thinly, so that it can be cooked thoroughly by stir-frying it over high heat for more than 10 seconds. Such pork neck meat has a little chewy texture that ordinary meat does not have, and the fragrance of pork is retained to the greatest extent. Coprinus comatus is also a very delicious and rare mushroom. Coprinus comatus should be cut into thin slices, soaked in wild boar oil and stir-fried, the Coprinus comatus absorbs the aroma of pork, the taste is thicker and more delicious than meat, and it is fragrant but not greasy. Add a little Cheng seasoning, it will definitely surprise everyone. It's just a pity that there are too many wolves and too little meat, everyone can only get half a mouthful of meat and a piece of Coprinus comatus. So what if it's less? I still got it? The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 82. What do you mean, Senchinj? Calling the police is life-threatening. You only sent 3 policemen with electric batons to help. Cheng Beizheng was angry. Chen Ling told him that there might be a spy in the police station. He was so angry. But Brother Cheng did not lose his mind. If you have no reaction to the actions of the Senchinj Police Department, it will alert the inner ghost. Therefore, when Cheng Beizheng arrived in Senchinj, he immediately asked Cheng's father to find local backup, and rushed to the Senchinj police station to cause trouble. Mr. Cheng, calm down, we will increase the police force to search now. Humph, Cheng Beizheng made a fuss, achieved his goal, and walked away with his sleeves. If the ghosts in the Senchinj police station think that the Cheng family is so capable, they will relax their vigilance. After leaving the police station, the housekeeper who came with Cheng Beizheng asked worriedly, "Are we going to find it on our own? What did the Maple City police station say? Are they willing to come?" "Don't worry, our face is not easy to use, but some people's face is good." Cheng Beizheng licked his peeled lips. He looked calm on the outside, but he was anxious in his heart. "I informed the Zhang family." The housekeeper was stunned. Zhang family? If the Zhang family takes action, then this matter may not be easily settled. The Zhang family mansion. Fu Yubin wiped his sweat and stood humbly in the Zhang family's study, facing the gray-haired man in Chinese tunic suit with hawk-like eyes sitting on the wicker chair, Zhang Qiun's father, Zhang Zhenkuo. "You said that Yun participated in a variety show and met a criminal gang, but now you can't contact him." Father Jiang's voice was calm. "He has a majesty that has long been immersed in political circles." Fu Yubin's calves trembled, and he overcame the fear in his heart and reported, "Yes. It is said that there are many criminal gangs, and they are also drug traffickers." Father Zhang immediately contacted the Maple City Commando team and asked them to assemble the team as soon as possible. "As soon as I hung up the phone, I heard someone walking into the study." "Since you can't get in touch, how did you know they met a criminal gang?" a cold voice sounded. Fu Yubin shook again. The speaker was Zhang Qilin, Zhang Qiun's brother, and the person Fu Yubin was most afraid of in his life. This person is cold, and calm, as if he has no human emotions. Of the 2 brothers from the Zhang family, one is more handsome than the other, and the elder brother has a bit more aura that makes people unable to take their eyes away. Wearing a simple gray shirt, he stood behind Father Zhang with a strong aura. It was Cheng Ling, a female star who participated in the show together, who found a way to contact her family, and her family found me. Zhang Qilin said coldly, "I'm afraid Zhang Qiun didn't tell the female star that he could contact our Zhang family directly, right? It took such a long way to find us. Now that such a big thing has happened, revealing the fact that he is the second young master of the Zhang family would solve the dilemma, but he just refuses to say it. To put it bluntly, his temper is greater than his ability. Does he really take other people's lives seriously? Fu Yubin, maybe. I think Qiun really likes and cares about that female star. Does that idiot know what liking means?" Zhang Qilin's dark eyes darkened. "He is just Mu Jiang. Even if he likes her, what can he bring to the other party? Revenge from the Mu family? Attack from fans? He himself has never understood it." Jiang's father cleared his throat. "Okay. Don't talk about this now. I have already explained the situation to the commando team, and it is estimated that the rescue will be launched soon." Zhang Qilin snorted, I hope Jang Ki-eun will gain some brain power after this incident. After speaking, he flicked his sleeves and strode out of the study. No wonder Yoon is afraid of his eldest brother, who isn't afraid of him now. Fu Yubin didn't dare to express his anger. Father John coughed lightly. I'm telling you a joke. I didn't hear or see anything, Fu Yubin said immediately. I'm not here today. Father John. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 83. Jang Ki-eun came out of the study room where guests were received and went straight back to his own study room. He loosened his tie a little irritably. He took out his mobile phone. He opened the album, and there was a saved video in the album. Bai Kinken's steps were limp, tears were streaming down his face, his delicate makeup was in a mess, and he looked at Cheng Ling for help. In the split second away from the observation deck, Cheng Ling moved. Cheng Ling grabbed the man's wrist with one hand in a lightning-fast manner, twisted it hard, and a tooth-grinding caress sounded, and the man's knife fell to the ground. With her other hand, she pulled Bai Kinken behind her, and then she raised her legs to an incredible height, and chopped the man's head from top to bottom. The man didn't even groan, and fell to the ground like a bag full of sand. It was the video of Cheng Ling encountering a crazy fan attacking Bai Kinken in the company. Jang Ki-eun pressed pause. He looked at Cheng Ling's face on the screen expressionlessly. Where did this woman come from? He had been watching the drug addict and drug dealer line in High City for a long time. As a result, when this woman appeared, she drowned and called the police, which alarmed the criminals and the criminals disappeared. All efforts failed. Jang Ki-eun couldn't help but start to suspect Cheng Ling. Was she in cahoots with the drug dealers? So, he sent someone to keep an eye on her. His subordinates reported that Cheng Ling fell into the water and lost her memory. Jang Ki-eun's first reaction was that this woman was acting. But Cheng Ling's next move was beyond Jang Ki-eun's expectations. Cheng Ling's company's spy sent a video of Cheng Ling's witty rescue of Bai Kinken, and he watched it over and over again. Every time he watched it, he became more suspicious. Is this the loser, the second-generation ancestor, the 18th-tier celebrity with a love brain? In the video, she is calm, wise, courageous, and even has a high acting talent. Such a person can be ridiculed by the internet and almost blackened by the entire network. Jang Ki-eun became suspicious. So, he carefully watched Cheng Ling's every move in Survivor. Can amnesia allow a person to have this ability that only professionally trained people can have? Jang Ki-eun was very skeptical. In the show, his younger brother Jang Ki-eun, that good-for-nothing, clung to Cheng Ling's thighs desperately. Doesn't this stupid brother know that his closeness to Cheng Ling will make the eldest daughter of the Mu family, who has a hole in her brain, go crazy? Jang Ki-eun can be sure, Mu Yingdi will definitely take action against Cheng Ling or the Cheng family. On the night after the show started, his subordinates came to report to him. Mu Yingdi has already started to dig a huge pit for the food industry of the Cheng group. Should we take care of it? The subordinate asked. Jang Ki-eun was silent for a while before answering, no hurry. Keep the evidence. I want to see how Cheng Ling will deal with this matter. If she doesn't move, we will take out the evidence again, so as not to hurt the Cheng group. But one wave has not yet subsided, another wave has risen. They actually encountered a drug trafficking gang. What's even more infuriating is that Jang Ki-eun could have asked his father or himself to mobilize helicopters and the Cheetah Commando with just one phone call, and to conduct a carpet search and rescue to ensure the safety of the entire program group. But he didn't. Jang Ki-eun could tell what was going on in his useless brother's mind with his eyes closed. I can't call home. Otherwise, I would have surrendered to the Jang family. At the beginning, Jang Kyun insisted on entering the entertainment industry despite the opposition of the whole family, and even made a harsh statement: as long as he, Jang Kyun, used the slightest power of the Jang family, he would come back to inherit his father's business. Ha! Rare! Jang Killen sneered. Jang Kyun is just a dead duck, only his mouth is hard. As for Chen Ling, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Such a person will be exhausted to death by himself sooner or later. Asterisk. Chen Ling, who was applying sauce to the half-cooked ribs, turned his head and sneezed. Who is scolding him behind his back? Big sister, are you cold? Bai Muchuan asked after wiping his saliva. In order to make cooking easier, Chen Ling took off her coat and only wore a short-sleeved shirt. Chen Ling waved her hand. It should be because of the chili pepper, I'm not cold. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 84. After smearing the sauce, Chen Ling handed the big bone to little M, who was in charge of the barbecue, continue to grill, and change sides after 20 seconds. Little Y from the props team rushed over and said to Chen Ling, Teacher Chen, we have set up the pot. Please come over and take a look. Thank you for carrying it all the way. Chen Ling followed Xiao Y from the props team to the set up iron pot. It's not hard, Teacher Chen. Our prop team often has to carry various things while running around, and we have long been used to it. An iron pot, although it is a bit big, is not heavy. Several people in our team take turns carrying it, and it is not heavy either. Tired? The prop team is a very fringe profession and is often ignored by people in the program team. In fact, it was really hard for them. No matter it was windy, rainy, sunny or snowy, they had to carry props on their backs and follow the crew. Sometimes, you may need to help carry the luggage of the charming star. I'll give your group a little more meat later. Chen Ling patted Xiao Y on the shoulder. Also, learn to let others see your efforts in the future. It's not to fight for anything, at least don't lose what you deserve. Part. Xiao Y, who had changed jobs several times, was stunned. No one has ever told themselves that in the workplace, they must learn to protect the fruits of their victory. Almost every time I can't work in a company, it's not entirely because I'm tired from work, but because I clearly do the work but my credit is taken away by others. Teacher Chen, I feel that you are so gentle and considerate. You took care of Best Actor Zhang, Bai Muchuan, and the others along the way. Teacher Chen, do you have any younger siblings at home to take care of? Xiao Y was so excited that he forgot the program team's teacher's repeated instructions not to inquire into the artist's private life. Can you take care of people? Chen Ling was quite surprised. Have it? Maybe. When she was a child, she trained, studied, and lived together with a group of well-qualified orphans from all over the world. The instructors didn't feel sorry for them, and they could only cling to each other for warmth. Later, when he arrived at the H Rangers, when Chen Ling was a member, he was taken care of by the senior members and captain. When it was her turn to be the captain, she would naturally have to take care of her team members. She didn't even notice it herself. These habits become conditioned reflexes. Seeing Chen Ling's delay in answering, Xiao Y later realized that he had been abrupt and immediately apologized in a panic. I'm sorry, Teacher Chen, I didn't mean to pry. His words were interrupted by Chen Ling. Well, I do have a sister. However, she is quite worry-free and doesn't need me to take care of her much. Chen Ling responded briefly. The reporter squatted down in front of the temporary stove set up by the prop team and sincerely praised, "Hey! Your prop team has a very good understanding. I made a few casual gestures, and you actually built it? This hands-on ability is also very powerful." Jang Kyun listened for a long time and found that the prop team didn't mention him at all, so he couldn't help but cough slightly. Xiao Wei was so praised that he was so beautiful. When he heard the cough, he turned around and glanced at the actor Zhang next to him. He immediately understood, oh, not only our prop team, but also the actor Zhang has been a big help. Busy. Chen Ling gave Zhang Qiun a thumbs up. Brother Zhang, it's not easy to go into battle with an injury, now you can wait for your meal. Zhang Qiun was stunned. Chen Ling sighed. Being with someone who is thoughtful means you have to pay extra attention. Eat a rabbit leg, please advise. Watch the night to persuade. You're all injured, can't you just wait for your meal with peace of mind? Another little V, who was responsible for stir-frying the oil, came over with a basin of clear oil, and the pork belly slices were grilled with fat on the bottom. Little V reported, Teacher Chang, according to your instructions, we have stirred out a lot of oil. You can see if it works, and if there is anything that doesn't work, tell me, and we can improve the remaining pork belly. Chen Ling directed Xiao Vi and the others to build a fire, put a few stones, put a stainless steel basin on the fire, the stainless steel basin the program team had provided to the 7 guests before, and found a clean fruit tree branch as a sticks, stir-fry the plump pork belly in the pot. After 10 minutes of boiling, so much oil was produced. It seemed like this wild boar had a pretty good life, at least until he met him. Chen Ling looked at the lard in the steel basin. It was bright, golden, and fragrant. The quality of this lard is really good. Work hard. Stir-frying the oil like this is great. Stir-fry the rest like this too. Xiao Vi took the order and went back to stir-fry the oil. Chen Ling bent down to light the fire for the iron pot. After a while, the iron pot began to emit green smoke. Chen Ling poured all the oil and meat fat residue from the pot just stirred into the large pot, and used a shovel, which was naturally obtained from the lumber factory, to stir it from time to time. And when there was no need for flipping, Chen Ling was not idle at all. She used local materials and pulled out a few long dry vines from the tree trunk. She flipped her hands and soon a mesh bag with fine holes appeared. Set aside. After a while, the fried meat slices became thinner and crispier. Chen Ling looked at the heat and took out dozens of pieces of red meat fat residue from the bottom. This meat fat residue will become crispy when cooled. Sprinkle it with chili powder, salt, and pepper, 5 spice powder, etc., and it will taste crispy and satiating. She put the meat fat residue into a mesh bag, sprinkled it with salt, pepper, and 5 spice powder, poured half of it into a clean stainless steel basin. Sprinkle some chili powder on the rest, shake it evenly, and pour it into another stainless steel basin. 1 kind of spicy fat residue, and 1 kind of non-spicy fat residue. This kind of fat residue not only provides a lot of energy and is suitable for people who do a lot of activities, but also tastes mellow and delicious. Muchuan, take these and divide them. This one is spicy, and this one is non-spicy. Each person should be able to get 2. Be careful, don't burn yourself. Chen Ling thought for a while and added, the wounded can't eat spicy food. Yes, big sister. This golden, crispy, and fragrant thing made Bai Muchuan's salivary glands on his cheeks secrete crazily. Bai Muchuan held the basin and divided it one by one. Everyone wiped their hands on their bodies casually and pinched 2 with their fingers. Each piece of meat fat residue is about 1/3 the size of a potato chip, and the color is a bit like the noodle snack cat ears, red and white, and the taste is strange. The red part is crispy, and the white part is full of juice. Take a bite, and the whole mouth and nose are full of the aroma of fried crispy meat. After a while, praises came one after another in the temporary camp. So crispy. So damn spicy. Oh my god, what is this called? Why is it so delicious? Bai Muchuan's smug expression was not concealed at all. My big sister said that this is called grease residue. Lu Zhan rolled his eyes. You big sister. You are just flattering yourself. This Chen Ling is really good at pretending. I want to see how long you can pretend. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 85. Chen Ling bent down and used a stainless steel basin to scoop out most of the oil in the pot. After the oil solidified, it turned milky white and was easy to carry. Lard has a special aroma that cannot be replaced by vegetable oil. It can not only enhance the flavor of food, but also promote appetite. In addition to eating, lard has many uses. Detoxification, treatment and relief of skin cracks, cough and dryness, treatment of dry stool, etc. There was a small spoonful of lard left in the pot, which was used to stir-fry chicken leg mushrooms and matsusaka meat. As soon as I picked up the thinly sliced white chicken leg mushrooms, I saw Bai Muchuan, holding an empty basin and pouting back. Move back a little, be careful of oil splashes and burns. Chen Ling picked up the washed and drained chicken leg mushrooms cut into long slices. The oil pan was filled with smoke, and the unique aroma of mushrooms was stimulated by the lard. What's wrong with you? Just now, I ate only one slice of the crispy meat. In fact, it's okay to eat one less slice. Bai Muchuan licked his lips with satisfaction, but Lu Zhan took 4 slices. 4 slices. I told him, and he argued that he accidentally took too much, he did it on purpose. Bai Muchuan has been holding back for a long time. He couldn't stop complaining once he started. Besides, big sister, he was just being lazy. He picked up 3 pieces of firewood after picking up firewood for half a day. I picked up more than 30 pieces. He just collapsed there, looking half dead. Who wouldn't be tired? Look, Brother Zhang and Lu Dengfeng are both injured, but they are still working. Oh, he took too much, right? Chen Ling began to stir-fry the chicken leg mushrooms. Don't give him anything later, let him solve it himself. Chen Ling has seen many such selfish people who only care about themselves. It's too easy to treat such people. Beat him up and beat him up. But tisk. There are many people here, and beating him up may cause civil disputes. Let him suffer a little. He asked for it. After Chen Ling finished speaking, she looked at the chicken leg mushrooms in the pot. The pure white chicken leg mushrooms were fried in lard and were oily and golden. They were about 70% cooked and could be seasoned. After putting the seasoning in, Chen Ling sprinkled the thinly sliced pineapple meat evenly into the pot, flipped it every 10 seconds, and served it on a plate after 1 minute. The pineapple meat is pink and white, and the chicken leg mushroom is golden yellow, which makes people's mouths water. Chen Ling was about to ask Bai Muchuan to share this delicious dish, but after thinking about it, she called Lao Banjiu. Chen Ling reminded, 1 piece of meat and 1 piece of chicken leg mushroom for each person, eat the chicken leg mushroom first, then eat the meat, so that you can taste the different flavors of the 2 ingredients. In addition, don't give the food to Lu Zhan. Miss Cheng finally couldn't stand this idiot and decided to deal with him. Lao Banjiu smiled knowingly. He made an okay gesture. Chen Ling chose Lao Banjiu for consideration. Bai Muchuan was still a little naive. If he wanted to subdue Lu Zhan, he had to let someone who Lu Zhan feared from the bottom of his heart do it. Lu Zhan, who was sitting alone on a wooden stake, was almost annoyed. He put the last piece of fat residue in his mouth, licked the fat and seasoning on his fingers, chewed it and swallowed it. Then, he glared at Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng who were sitting next to him with disgust. Damn it! They were a sports trio before, but now they were kissing each other, leaving him alone and embarrassed, completely ignoring his feelings. Lu Zhan looked at the program crew sitting in groups of 3 or 2 with resentment. Damn it! He took the initiative to get close to several staff members, but got a cold shoulder. It seemed that no one wanted to pay attention to him. What did I, Lu Zhan, do wrong? What he didn't know was that the people in the program crew witnessed all the tricks Lu Zhan did after he met Chen Ling and the others in the wild in the live broadcast. Who would be willing to pay attention to him? Lu Zhan even hated the old dove who was standing by the pot and talking to Chen Ling. The old dove was so aloof and arrogant, but he also surrounded Chen Ling and called her Miss Cheng and Miss Cheng. It was disgusting. You are almost 40 years old, and you still want to eat young grass. Just thinking about it, I saw the old dove holding a plate and circling to divide a plate of freshly cooked dishes. Lu Zhan quickly put away the disgust on his face. The wind brought the unique fragrance of mushrooms to the tip of his nose. This Chen Ling is really good at cooking. Lu Zhan glanced at her back while she was cooking. She had a thin waist and a big chest, and she was also good looking. Tisk, just not suitable for home and family. When he came to his senses, he found that the old dove had already divided the dishes. It turned out that the center of the old dove circling around to divide the dishes was Lu Zhan himself. The old dove held the basin and squatted not far from Lu Zhan. Old dove, why is there no mine? Lu Zhan raised his voice unhappily. Oh, no, for yours. The old dove lightly raised his eyelids and said with a fake smile, I'm really sorry. There is no more. Lu Zhan angrily rolled his eyes at the old dove. Isn't there a piece of mushroom and a piece of meat on the plate? The old dove didn't explain or feel embarrassed. He sat down next to Lu Zhan and licked his lips, looking ready to enjoy the delicious food. The old dove must have done it on purpose. He was targeting him. Lu Zhan swallowed his saliva and watched the old dove put the last remaining chicken leg mushroom on the plate into his mouth. Then, the old dove seemed to have been hit hard by something, his eyes bulged slightly, and he looked at the remaining piece of pork neck in his hand in disbelief, and then closed his eyes. What happened? Lu Zhan then looked around. It's so weird. Last time I ate that crispy meat, everyone praised me, but why didn't they say anything this time? It must be very unpalatable. It's very unpalatable. I had to endure the unpalatability and couldn't spit it out in front of him. At this time, I heard the old dove let out a long sigh of relief and wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. Today, I can eat this mushroom, and I have no regrets in my life. Lu Zhan. Your acting is too exaggerated. Do you think you are acting in Chinese Cooking Master Boy? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 86. The old dove originally wanted to play with Lu Zhan. But after he put the chicken leg mushroom into his mouth, he didn't care about the performance. The chicken leg mushroom was smooth, tender, elastic, and fresh, with a thick texture like a piece of meat. The juice of the mushroom burst out in his mouth. For a moment, he felt that his tongue was paralyzed by the fragrance and couldn't move. The old dove shook his head and smacked his lips, with an endless aftertaste. Then, one by one, the people in the camp woke up from the intoxication of the delicious food and expressed their feelings one after another. Oh my God, I used to think that those food shows were all exaggerated and pitfalls. Today I know that I am the frog in the well. There really is food in this world that can make people obsessed. I must have eaten pig food before. What kind of pig is this? Can I catch a few and take them home? No, no, I should ask what this dish is called. I will order 100 plates and eat them all by myself when I get home. Don't have illusions. Can the food cooked in restaurants outside be as delicious as that cooked by our big sister? Lu Zhan. One by one, are they deliberately going against themselves? It is the best time to fry the brushworm while the mushroom juice is in the pot. Brushworm is a folk name. It is actually a kind of caterpillar silkworm pupa. This kind of silkworm pupa is extremely rich in nutritional value. When fried, the taste of the crispy protein is absolutely unforgettable. Durian is the same. At first, its smell may make most people retreat. But if you muster up the courage to taste it, you will find that it really tastes great. And there is no other food that can replace its deliciousness. The same is true for fried brushworms. This kind of brushworm usually lives between the leaves of very tall trees and is a rare delicacy. The old dove had the honor of eating it once, and it was really unforgettable. And now, the one who fried the brushworms is Chen Ling, a master with superb cooking skills. The old dove is even more looking forward to it. Jang Ki-eun has been sitting next to the medical team, closing his eyes and resting. After eating super delicious fat residue and super delicious mushroom fried meat slices, now he wants to eat the so-called super fried worms. Fried worms. Bugs. Bugs. Vomit. Jang Ki-eun couldn't help but tilt his head and dry heave. The medical team immediately took Jang Ki-eun's temperature. "Teacher Jang, are you feeling uncomfortable?" Jang Ki-eun shook his head. "Fortunately, nothing is wrong. To eat or not to eat, this is a problem that has troubled mankind for nearly 10,000 years. Once upon a time, people fished out a terrifying creature covered with iron armor from the sea, crabs. A brave man cooked it and ate it, and his eyes widened in amazement. I should be braver too. Just thinking about it, Chen Ling has already walked towards Jang Ki-eun with fried brushworms." Jang Ki-eun swallowed nervously. The camp was quiet. Everyone was watching the show. "LV Dengfeng, come and eat together, and there is also the old dove." The old dove raised his little hand and ran over happily. "Here I come." LV Dengfeng dragged his heavy steps. "Do I have to eat this worm? These brushworms are exclusive to you three. You three should share them equally." Chen Ling put the basin on a stone and reminded him, "Eat well, don't fight, and don't fight. I'll go get the next dish." "Fight." LV Dengfeng and Jang Ki-eun looked at each other. If it was the mushroom fried with meat slices just now, it would be worth fighting. Fried worms. There is definitely no need to fight. LV Dengfeng and Jang Ki-eun stared at the food on the plate together, like two stone sculptures. The old dove couldn't wait any longer, and kept rubbing his hands. "Tisk, do you two want to eat? If not, I won't be polite." "Please," Jang Ki-eun said. "LV Dengfeng, you please." The old dove didn't care about the heat, and pinched a fried brushworm and put it in his mouth. "Tisk. Tisk tisk. Tisk tisk tisk." The old dove squinted his eyes and smacked his lips happily. LV Dengfeng subconsciously looked back at Yang Zhao, who told him that she often ate fried worms when she was training in the Southern training team, and they were really delicious. Yang Zhao clenched his fist and made a cheering gesture for him. LV Dengfeng closed his eyes, grabbed one from the plate at random, stuffed it into his mouth, and was ready to chew it a few times and swallow it raw. Just after chewing it, LV Dengfeng's tightly closed eyes opened. "Oh! It's so delicious." Lu Dengfeng picked up one, ran to Yang Zhao, and fed her one. Everyone in the camp booed. "Oh my! I never thought that I would be forced to feed dog food in desperate situations. Can you throw these two people away? I have been a soloist for 26 years and I can't bear to see this." Jang Ki-eun's forehead was sweating. Of the three men, he was the only one who didn't eat. It would be bad for his image if he told others about it. Moreover, judging from their reactions, it should be really delicious. The shell was fried slightly crispy, with a little bit of pepper and salt. It tasted crispy. Inside was the meat with the texture of egg tarts, with the taste of eggs, but much more fragrant than eggs. A brand new fragrance that had never been tried. The old dove was too lazy to recommend it to the two of them. While Jang Ki-eun and Lu Dengfeng were hesitating, he had already eaten 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. After feeding his girlfriend, Lu Dengfeng ran back and looked at the plate. There were so many missing. He stared at the old turtle dove. This man is unusual. It's a werewolf. Damn, don't you know how to give in to the younger generation? One person eats so fast and so much. Is he the reincarnation of a starving ghost? However, Lu Dengfeng found that Zhang Qiun on the side also raised his head, with green light in his eyes. Zhang Yingdi also surrendered. Another powerful enemy. The war between the three men is about to break out. Then Chen Ling's voice came from afar, "Tisk, I said you can't fight. If you fight, the dishes will be collected." Old Turtle Dove, Lu Dengfeng, and Zhang Qiun immediately put their arms around each other and showed Chen Ling a sunflower-like smile. They were just about to play finger-guessing and shout, "Brothers, 666. Chen Ling was helpless. These people, why are they like children? Fighting is not allowed. Chen Ling is a person who can make a hole when he says something, and he definitely keeps his word. What to do? They can only sit in a row and share the fruit. Three men, rubbing their heads together, gathered around the basin and distributed the brush worms. "Hey, you're so cunning, this one is so fat. Put it down. You just ate a few too many. I was shot, cough cough, can't you give me some slack? Cough cough." The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 87. There was a happy atmosphere in the camp. Chen Ling checked the 8 big stick bones that several people were roasting and found that they were very ripe. "Okay, you guys take the stick bones off the fire, and then the barbecue will be dry and unpalatable. I'll put a plastic bag on it." Chen Ling spread a plastic bag on a tree stump that had been cut down, leaving only a table-like stump, and asked several people to line up the stick bones and place them neatly on the stump. "Help me get the pile of leaves by the stove." "Yes, that's the pile," Chen Ling directed little R. Then she took the machete she used to slice meat, pointed it at the stick bone, and chopped it off. The knife fell from the hand. Each large stick bone was chopped into bone and meat chunks about 7 or 8 centimeters long. Chen Ling deliberately left a lot of meat on the stick bones, which is similar to the kind of stick bones eaten in the market that make you want to pick out the meat close to the bone. It's different, it's full of meat. It was divided into 40 pieces in total. She picked some clean broad leaves in advance, washed them by the stream, and used them to wrap the meat stick bones and eat them. "This is for me. Each of you roasting stick bones will take 1 piece. The rest, Bai Muchuan, you and Sui Chao can share with you. Don't forget it. There is no need to give it to those who have it." Bai Muchuan immediately nodded wildly. When you are the number 1 younger brother, you must fully understand the unspoken half-sentence of the boss. Some people can't give it, just Lu Zhan. Deserve it. By the way, the prop team carried iron pots and daily necessities all the way. Let's reward them with the extra bones. Okay, eldest sister. Chen Ling looked back at the photographer who was carrying a camera and faithfully recording everything. "Brother, let's put down the camera and have a few bites. I also have to eat something before making tonight's main dish, secret roasted pork ribs. It's not too late to shoot again at that time." The cute girl on the side came over, grabbed the bone of the stick, and kept squealing because it was so delicious, and then advised the photographer, "Brother, eat some. This is so delicious. The dog wants to take a bite when he sees it." Producer Lin kicked Meng Meng in the butt. "Who are you scolding?" "Director," he nodded, "I have a reasonable suspicion that you are criticizing others." "What's the matter? Do you want your bonus to be deducted? Why are you two here?" Meng Meng didn't expect that Director He and Producer Lin, who were sitting far away, would actually come over and said with a sad face, "I mean me, I am a dog. After watching it, I couldn't help but want to chew it. 2 mouthfuls. Hey, is it so difficult for today's social workers?" Chen Ling sighed. "It's so difficult to make a lot of money in a month, right? It hurts my heart." Meng Meng covered her mouth and ran away while crying. Hideo Kong made a stop shooting gesture to the photographer. The photographer understands. Director He and producer Lin came over, probably because they wanted to talk to Chen Ling alone. So he immediately turned off the camera, held his piece of roasted stick bone, and hid away to enjoy it. Director He, producer Lin, what do you want from me? Can you compliment me on my cooking skills? I still want to say, Chen Ling lowered his voice and imitated Director He's voice, powerful and deep. Hey, it turns out that Chen Ling really has muscles. Director He burst into laughter. This Chen Ling always surprises people. Call her serious. Sometimes she is neither big nor small. Call her transparent and reasonable. Sometimes her mouth is so poisonous that it would make Wang Feng tremble. Director He cupped his hands and clasped his fists. Although you have to use a magnifying glass to find your girl's muscles, a small weight can weigh 1,000 pounds. Small. It seems that after returning home, I have to ask the housekeeper to buy some protein powder for muscle building, buy some heavier dumbbells, and reduce aerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise affects muscle formation, and the most important thing is to eat more. Oh shit. What bothers me the most is people saying I'm young. As soon as Director He finished speaking, he saw Chen Ling bite the stick bone viciously. Producer Lin laughed so hard that his fangs were invisible. Hey, you two are talking about crosstalk. Chen Ling, you can't become fat with one bite. Besides, aren't everyone pursuing white, thin, and young people now? Chen Ling grabbed the stick bone and glanced at producer Lin. White and thin? That's a morbid aesthetic of feeling harmless and weak. Why do I want people to think I'm harmless? I just want people to think I'm scary. It's easy to mess with, I'm very powerful, so people who want to ask me for a bicycle should think about whether they can get this bicycle. Director He gave a thumbs up. That's it? Look at the current costume dramas and the actresses in modern dramas. They are all weak, sallow and thin. Chen Ling, I'm sure you can become a star in the entertainment industry in the future. The hottest female star. Chen Ling took a sip of bone marrow and bared his teeth at Director He. Director He, please be gentle. Otherwise I would even want to take back what I said. Producer Lin finally finished laughing and cleared his throat. Chen Ling, do you still have a signal on your phone? Chen Ling would glance at his phone every 10 minutes, but unfortunately the signal bar was always 0. I don't know how Brother Chen is doing with his search for backup. No, I haven't received any information either. But don't worry, my eldest brother is very reliable in his work, Chen Ling said proudly. That's not what I want to say. I came here to talk to you about two people. One is Zhang Qiun and the other is Lu Zhan. Chen Ling nodded while chewing on the stick bone. Her time is limited, so she needs to eat to replenish her strength without delaying her talk to others. How much do you know about Zhang Qiun? Isn't he the best actor or the king of singers? Although he is a bit greedy and a bit timid, he blocks the gun for you, producer Lin, and can endure hardships and cooperate. He is a good teammate, Chen Ling judged fairly. I'm not talking about what kind of person he is. I'm asking you, do you know his identity? Chen Ling paused while gnawing on the bone. Zhang Qiun, Zhang Zhenqiu. What's his relationship with Zhang Zhenqiu? Chen Ling asked after swallowing the meat in his mouth. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 88. Producer Lin and director He looked at each other, lowered their voices and said, they are father and son. Chen Ling said oh and then frowned. Zhang Qiun is the son of the political boss of Zhang Zhenqiu. Before he came, he systematically checked the information of each guest. She didn't find out the relationship between Zhang Qiun and Zhang Zhenqiu. Have you been removed from the family? Chen Ling asked. Director He lowered his voice. No, it said that Zhang Qiun had a falling out with his family and didn't want to enter politics. Therefore, From top to bottom, this matter was kept secret. A small media once said it casually without opening his eyes. The small media company closed down for rectification the next day. The wealthy investor said hello to me and asked me to pay more attention to Jang Kyun. In fact, the Jang family still values him very much. This is their family's private matter. Chen Ling paused and she understood. Oh, you want Jang Kyun to ask the Jang family for help? You were afraid that it would be inappropriate to say anything, so you asked me to be the one to do it? Guessed, right. It's easy to talk to smart people. Director He and producer Lin nodded. Chen Ling simply shook his head. I won't go. Jang Kyun is not that stupid. If he could just ask his family to help, he would have asked for help. We don't need to ask for help. Since he didn't ask for help, there are two possibilities. First, he might not have asked for help. Used it? Second, there was no way he could take the initiative to talk about it. This was someone else's private matter, and I didn't want to get involved. Besides, my brother was very reliable and he wouldn't leave me alone in such a dangerous place. Chen Ling's words make sense. Director He and producer Lin are irrefutable. Chen Ling took another bite of meat and said, tell me, what's wrong with Lu Zhan? Keep it as short as possible. I still have a few dishes to prepare. Director He said, this is Lu Zhan. He is indeed a bit young, a bit stunned and a bit green. He is also rude and unruly. He likes to take advantage of others and is also annoying. Chen Ling. There is no need to go into such detail. His agent told me this. But after all, he is the person we brought into the show. If something happens, it will be very difficult for us. Teacher Chen Ling Chen will be generous and let him eat something, director He said half jokingly and half begging. Unexpectedly, Chen Ling nodded happily. Okay, she said, but I won't give it to you. If you feel sorry for him, then give him your share. Then who would give it up? Director He and producer Lin had thoughts flashing through their minds at the same time. I'm sorry, Lu Zhan, please bear with me. Suffering a severe beating from society is also helpful to your growth and development. We are also doing this for your own good. Chen Ling put the last bite of meat from the stick bone into his mouth, put the bone aside, clapped his hands. Okay, I'm going to grill the ribs. Director He and supervisor Lin, if you two have nothing else to do, just do it yourself. I want to take a break after baking. Okay, Chen Ling, don't be too tired. We just came here to let you know, director He said, you have a good idea. The two turned to leave. Wait a minute, Chen Ling stretched out Erkang's hand, and the two of them turned back. Well, does the drone you gave me have an operator? I want to ask him for help. Two people. What to give? You were clearly robbing me. After a while, drone operator number 1 ran over and gave Chen Ling a boy's gift. Sister, are you looking for me? Chen Ling, why does everyone call me eldest sister? Have you asked me for my opinion? You were the one who operated my drone before, right? Chen Ling took out the partially dismantled drone from the bag. Only 2 of the half-broken drone's 4 propellers were left. Drone operator number 1 looked at the tragic situation of his drone and nodded with heartache. I thought you were familiar with this drone, so I asked you to come over and help me. Drone operator number 1 was overjoyed, and he wished that other drone operators could come over. Listen. Chen Ling. Big sister. Ask yourself for help personally. Sister, tell me. I will definitely go all out. Chen Ling put the drone in his hand. I want to grill ribs. This fire is not good enough. You hold this for me, aim the propeller at the flames, and try not to blow up the wood ashes. Also, it must be careful not to cut yourself. Drone operator. Listen to me, thank you, because of you, I turned into a human electric fan. Don't worry, there will be roasted mushrooms, roasted quails, and boiled quail eggs later. I'll give you some more. Drone operator. What happened to the human electric fan? Sister Cheng can find me, that's my blessing. How many people ask for it but don't come? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 89. The Zhang family mansion. The housekeeper sent Fu Yubin away. Jiang's father knocked on Zhang Qilan's door. It's me. Come in. The door is unlocked. Aren't you going to take a look? Jiang's father opened the door and asked, standing at the door of the study without going inside. What am I looking for? My brother's long donkey face that reaches down to his insteps. Zhang Qilan looked through the documents on the table without raising his eyes. Fu Yubin just said that the distress location sent by Cheng Ling to her brother was sent by the GPS locator of an unmanned transport aircraft. Zhang Qilan stopped while flipping through the documents. GPS locator for unmanned transport aircraft? Impossible. The locator won't work if it is removed from the drone, right? Even though he knew that his father was deliberately arousing his curiosity, Zhang Qilan still couldn't help but ask, where is the locator placed? I just asked the technician that the GPS locator has been specially modified and has been transmitting signals in a special band. As long as you know its model and get its band, you can locate it. The positioning shows that it is placed in Shenchange by a small stream in the wild boar forest, Father Zhang said. Zhang Qilan was having a fierce ideological struggle in his heart. Father Zhang smiled like an old fox. The eldest son is a technology fan. Hearing that someone has modified a novelty such as the GPS locator of a drone, he will definitely not be able to help but see it with his own eyes. Father Zhang added, by the way, the technician told me that this locator was started early this morning. Early this morning? Aren't Cheng Ling and the others about to set off at that time? When are locators placed and activated? Zhang Qilan suddenly remembered that he saw a section of the live broadcast where Cheng Ling walked to the stream to wash his face, and asked the program team to turn off the camera, saying that it was for his own convenience. That must be that time. In other words, Cheng Ling's dismemberment of the drone after hijacking it the night before was just a pretense. She is trying to hide her true intention, to modify the GPS signal locator in the drone. Why put a locator? She found something but it was not convenient to investigate at the time, so she put down the locator so that it could be located later? Who knew that if they encountered a criminal gang, they would have to reveal this locator? Zhang Qilan narrowed his eyes. This woman is so interesting. I am recruiting all kinds of talents, especially in the field of scientific and technological talents, where there is a huge shortage of talents. If Cheng Ling is really that powerful and can assemble a GPS positioning signal that can directionally transmit a specific frequency band in a simple environment like the wild, then he will definitely visit the thatched cottage and invite her. Jiang's father looked at the various expressions of doubt, realization, surprise, and expectation flashing across his son's face. He knew the fish and automatically bit the hook. I have contacted the Maple City Police Department. They will mobilize Shenchange's provincial military helicopters for rescue. Since you are not interested, Father Zhang sighed and turned around, then I will find someone else to go. Zhang Qilan. This old fox. Wait, Father, I thought about it for a moment, and I think it is necessary for me to go and see the useless brother in person, panicking like a lost dog. I don't want to miss this scene. Jiang's father turned his back to Zhang Qilan and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. The car is at the door, and the satellite phone is in the back seat. Don't forget to take a few photos of Kyun. The brat will be a hero and save the beauty. It's worth washing out and hanging on the wall as a souvenir. Asterisk. Hiccup, hiccup, Bai Muchuan grabbed the ribs on his arm, feeling that the food had piled up to his throat. It's over, I'm too full, and it's up to my throat. If you can't eat it, don't eat it. Sui Chao stuffed another spicy quail egg into his mouth. I'm not afraid of spoiling my stomach. What do you know, you missed this meal. I don't know when the next time I will eat something made by my eldest sister. Bai Muchuan gritted his teeth and took another bite of the rib meat. The wild boar has a total of 28 ribs. The longest ribs were divided into 2 sections, and everyone in the camp except Lu Zhan was given a rib that was full of meat and fragrant. In addition to the seasonings originally provided to her by the program crew, Chen Ling also found a lot of wild seasonings from local materials in the forest, such as sandy wild onions, cinnamon, and wild berries. She seemed to have a seasoning device in her mind, estimating what kind of flavor would be produced when different seasonings were mixed together. To outsiders, she looks like she can mix and match whatever she wants. However, despite her carelessness, she baked pork ribs that tasted great. The most amazing thing is that Chen Ling had people cut down the trunks of wild pear trees, and used the trunks to smoke and grill the pork ribs. The sweetness of the fruit trees penetrated into the meat, and the roasting temperature was just right, not fishy, not greasy, not slippery, not smelly. The meat is delicious, the taste is mellow, juicy, and waxy. Chen Ling made a bowl of condiments. He preferred something heavy, so he could dip the pork ribs into the condiments. Condiments include balsamic vinegar, chili pepper, wild onion, minced garlic, biscuit powder, sesame oil, salt, etc. Eat it with condiments, chew it in your mouth, and different levels of flavors will unfold in your mouth one after another. Not to mention that the roasted mushrooms that accompany the meal are rich in flavor, the meat of the grilled quail is fresh, tender, and fragrant, and the sweet and sour wild fruits can relieve the greasiness after the meal. The wind picked up in the summer night. With the dew of the forest at night and the fragrance of moist earth. Eating something and sitting casually on the floor gave people the illusion of being so happy that they were tipsy. Everyone seemed to have forgotten about chasing soldiers, the troubles of life, the heavy work, and the pressure at home to get married and have children. At this moment, enjoy life slowly. But there are always people who are blind and have to break the silence. Director He looked at Lu Zhan's increasingly dark face, and saw him chewing ham sausage silently. He felt pity for him and kindly shared his roasted quail and roasted mushrooms with him. Unexpectedly, Lu Zhan threw the food to the ground. Then Lu Zhan stood up suddenly, pointed at Director He, and patrolled the people in the camp, shouting at the top of his lungs, "Who asked you to pretend to be a good person? All of you are on Chen Ling's side. I know you just can't afford to offend her. A resource guy who brought money into the group. Isn't it just cooking? What's so great about it?" Chen Ling wiped the corner of her mouth slowly and stood up. "You don't have to eat. Why waste food? Do you know who I hate the most? People who waste food. Everyone. Is Lu Zhan crazy? Chasing a tiger with a naked butt, shameless and lifeless. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment." Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 90. Chen Ling stood up and walked slowly towards Lu Zhan. "Lu Zhan, do you think everyone in the world is your mother and everyone has to spoil you? You still have the nerve to get angry. Do you know that as a person, your temper should not be greater than your ability? You feel very wronged and in pain, right? Do you think I don't know? Do you think everyone here doesn't know? You don't understand at all that the fault is yours, so no one will come to comfort you and protect you. You make mistakes one after another, and I don't care about it. Why do you have to care about it one by one in public? You are sneaky and cunning, and you have more tricks than lotus roots. You retreat when there is a dangerous task, and you hide when you are assigned to work. In the first batch of food, everyone has 2, and you grabbed 4. I didn't beat you, because for the sake of the program team, I simply won't give you any food. After all, these things were found by me and others together. The props team took turns carrying the iron pots along the way. The medical team took care of the wounded and helped kill quails and pluck chicken feathers. The publicity team helped pound pork into minced meat and stuff ham sausage. Even the 2 wounded patients were embarrassed to sit and wait for food. One set up the stove, and the other helped wash mushrooms. Director He and producer Lin have been running around to check the number of people, check supplies, collect firewood, help boil water, distribute water. Look at you, what else did you do besides picking up a few firewood that can't be used at all? Lu Zhan's face turned blue and white. He opened his mouth again and again, but he couldn't say a word of rebuttal. I've saved your face, but can you take the initiative to grow your brain? Now, I'll give you 2 options. First, pack up and get out. As long as you appear in my sight, I'll beat you up every time I see you. I'm not good at taking care of naughty children, but I'm good at beating people. Chen Ling walked 2 meters in front of Lu Zhan and stopped. Sweat began to break out on Lu Zhan's forehead. What are you doing? Do you want to beat me up on the spot? Chen Ling covered her right fist with her left hand, and her right elbow hit a dead tree more than 2 meters high beside her. The middle of the tree, where Chen Ling's elbow was concentrated, click, broke. Sui Chao. I recalled some terrible things. That day, Chow Chow wanted to be a bad guy, but a mop pole broke in mid-air, ruining my future as a bad guy. Lu Zhan shook. The tree broke cleanly. He felt that his neck was not harder than the tree trunk. Chen Ling raised her toes forward, caught the top of the fallen tree, and gently placed it on the ground. The 2 broken pieces of the dead tree and the ground formed a perfect right triangle RTABC. The second option is to apologize to Director He first and then thank him, pick up the things on the ground and eat them all. After that, in the team, if you do anything that does not follow the rules, you will be kicked out. You can choose these 2 options. I am a good person and will not force others' will. I will give you 5 seconds to think about your choice. 5, 4. Chen Ling's figure was a little sloppy. He stretched out a palm, put his fingers away one by one, and counted down slowly. Hey! The countdown started. Wait. I still have a lot of excuses. Chen Ling only gave him 5 seconds, but she was too lazy to listen to the turtle chanting. 2, 1. 2. I choose the second option, Lu Zhan shouted with a red face and thick neck. Ha! Childish! You are not qualified to fight with me. When I was the captain of the H-Rangers, there were countless unconvinced recruits in the team, whether they were 2-meter-tall Soviet red-haired men or American black men whose arms were thicker than their waists. In the end, they were all dealt with by me. Everyone's gaze seemed to have a body, weighing heavily on his head. Lu Zhan felt so embarrassed that he couldn't even raise his head. But Chen Ling didn't give him time to feel embarrassed. Director He is right in front of you. Lu Zhan gritted his teeth, raised his head, and his eyes were a little red. Director He, I was wrong just now. I'm sorry. And thank you for giving me food. Director He sighed in his heart, and his tone was flat. Okay, you. Director He didn't say anything, just shook his head and left. Lu Zhan lowered his head to pick up the food on the ground, blew it casually, and put it in his mouth to chew silently. Chen Ling didn't look at him, but stood by the dead tree, with a voice that was neither high nor low. I'd like to take this opportunity to explain something. We have fled here today, hungry and thirsty. This is something that everyone expected. You are suffering and feeling emotional, which is human nature, and I understand. Because of the situation, I have no choice but to lead everyone and arrange everyone's food, clothing, housing, transportation, and daily necessities. In this case, I hope everyone will follow my arrangements. If you respect me, I will respect you. I will try to ensure everyone's safety and health, and ensure that everyone has enough food and rest. What if someone is not convinced? Chen Ling raised one corner of his mouth, and his eyes coldly scanned everyone in the camp. That look seemed to carry a knife, which was very oppressive. I advise you to hold it in, don't let me see it. I am a person with a heart smaller than a flea's belly button. Big sister, I support you. Bai Muchuan raised his hand first. If you tell me to go east, I will go east. If you tell me to go west, I will go west. If you tell me to eat shit, well, then I will pinch my nose and swallow it. I'm sick in the head, so I'll make you eat shit. Chen Ling's stern face broke down at once, and he laughed. What good will it do us if we make you eat shit? Ah! Bai Muchuan touched his head. It can liven up the atmosphere. Then I'll have to seriously consider this proposal. Ha 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 ha. Muchuan, let's crowdfund to buy you some nutritional supplements for your brain, ha ha ha.